Hara mai, Lucy. Ho mai te pakapaki.
Binoculars on. Morena koutou. Oh, what a lot of people. Crikey. Ko taupiri te maunga, ko waikato te awa, ko tainui te waka, ko Ngāti Mahuta te hāpū, ko Ngāti Whawhākia te iwi, ko Potatau te wherowhero o te tangata, ko Wāhi Pā te marae. He piko he taniwha, he piko he taniwha, waikato taniwha rau. Ko Ruhi, aka Lucy, tuku ingoa. Most of you know me as a student support advisor based up in Māngere, but I have also been a tauira at Te Wānanga Aotearoa for the last 16 years. So a week ago I finished my masters. So my kaupapa is diamonds are forever, but not if you are a female softball umpire. Ka mau tonu te mana, engari auare ake te Mana Wāhine poiuka. So I stand before you as a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a Wāhine Māori, but most importantly as an Indigenous Māori sports practitioner. I proudly stand on the shoulders of giants, of those who have passed before me. So it was only by chance while attending a social softball tournament. We all know what happens at a social softball tournament. If you don't, you might want to go and experience it. There are a lot of people indulging on some alcoholic beverages, but I was not one of those. So I was asked to umpire most of the games. And from then I was hooked. So my kaupapa is based on my experiences and the experiences of my chosen kaiwawao, which is he reo Māori for umpire, and the disparities in the treating female kaiwawao within poiuka. My rangahau clearly shows that wāhine are treated very differently from our tāne. It is important in our community to be a voice and make a difference. 2 weekends ago, while being a base umpire on one of our premier men's game, I made a judgment call on a runner coming to base one, and I called him safe. The defensive coach came screaming out of the dugout and went straight to the plate umpire, who was a male, and said I had it wrong. We had a chat amongst the umpires and I stuck to my original call. I said to the coach, if I was the man, would you have done the same thing? He said his answer was no. This is a recurring theme with wāhine and wāhine kaiwawao. So my model of practice, it's based on my model of understanding, and it's also based on the shape of the softball diamond with the 4 bases. So I always knew that I would use the softball diamond as part of my model of practice. So on base 1, so we're in the game, we're playing the game, we've hit the ball, we're going to base 1, is whanaungatanga, and that is all about my life's experiences, and the shared experiences and the tacit knowledge allows me to unify people through our shared passion and experience for sport, and can use these connections to enhance and grow the opportunities for all involved. And we've made it to base 2, and it's kaitiakitanga, which is our guardianship, which allows me to be the guardian for our wāhine within poiuka. And moving around to base 3 is whakahuatanga, and this is my guiding principle, highlights how I can take the tacit and lived experiences I have gained through being a Māori sports official practitioner, and then transform both the knowledge and skills through the innovation of new learnings to create a more robust platform inclusiveness for wāhine with the sport of poiuka. Angi tūtanga, so we've scored a run, we've come home. Angi tūtanga is all about success. What does that success look like to me? This is deeply rooted in Māori culture and it embodies a profound meaning. It represents a state of being that transcends mere existence. It is the pinnacle of achievement, the ultimate expression of purpose and fulfillment. When someone embodies angi tūtanga, they have not only achieved their goals, but have done so with integrity, honour and respect for others. So this tacit knowledge is deeply grounded within my subconscious memories of those who have passed before me, and I live and breathe these principles without knowing. It is also known in Te Ao Māori as the quantum realm of absolute knowing. If you want to know about the quantum realms, go and sign up for Rongo Māori. That's where you will learn. Ka pai. Right, my theoretical framework. So I didn't just choose female kaiwawau. I did target various people. So I chose some umpires, some players, a top New Zealand umpire, and an executive from Softball New Zealand. And I also targeted a female rugby referee. In a previous life, I played semi-professional rugby for 13 years, and they have a platform for female referees which works, and a pathway for them to succeed. So currently within Softball New Zealand, I am a level 4 umpire, which I'm sitting in the mid-range for our umpires. My how was like I had fortnightly updates with my IMP and my tuakana who are sitting in this room. Tanya over there and Tina over there. And I had interviews. I purposely did my interviews via Zoom because I knew I could take those Zoom recordings and put them into a transcribing app. And I just had to put my headphones on and change the reo kipu, which wasn't too hard. And then I was looking for narratives and key themes. My questions to my participants were, what challenges are you aware of as a female working and playing with a male within a male-dominated environment? And the second question, if changes are realised, what will the future offer to female participants? The third question, if changes are not made, where do you see the sport heading in the future for female participants? And my why is to show Softball New Zealand that there's space at the table for wāhine to sit as equals, to share with them some of the struggles our wāhine face in a male-dominated sport. And it was also to make recommendations on how changes can be made in this sport and to create a clear and successful pathway for wāhine kaiwawau. And my rangahau approach, so I had Mana Wāhine was initially established in reaction and response to the exclusion and omission of Māori wāhine in decision making. According to Linda Smith, Mana Wāhine is the knowledge and understanding of a worldview by wāhine. I had Kaupapa Māori as a key framework that wraps itself around Mana Wāhine, which upholds the rights of our wāhine. According to Linda Pihama, by Māori for Māori, whanaungatanga, manaakitanga, aroha, mahake, mana. And then I had my hiha. Hiha is short for honesty, integrity, humility and acknowledgement. That's something I carry with me every day. And then I had my qualitative. I was looking for key themes within the kōrero. And yeah, there was some real good key themes that popped up. So I won't talk too much about the ethical practices. We all know ahurutangas around, you know, all your interviews and formal consent and ka pai, Shelley. 5 minutes. I saw that last week. Kei te pai. And then koha and kaitiakitanga, so we'll scoot past that. Righty-ho. So these were some of the key themes that popped up. So the challenges in a male-dominated environment. These are quotes from some of my participants. We get intimidated by males with their bad language towards us as umpires and players, and yeah, we feel unsafe. The need for gender inclusivity. The female umpires are a unique breed to be able to stand behind the plate facing pitch balls coming down at 100 kilometres an hour or more. And some of you would have seen the lovely whoppers on my legs that I've received. So yeah, the impacts. People need to treat each other as people rather than gender specific. Also, a need to have a group of people who are running the organisation who want to make change. This is not a place. If this is not in place, then the people below do not have an example of how it should be. And perception, outwardly, we look female, you tend to have the perception of not being as good as a male umpire. People thinking your skills aren't the same as a man. So some of my key highlights from it was the realisation that there is a problem. I always knew there was a problem, but to hear it from others was like great to hear it, but sad to hear it at the same time. That the frustration is faced by a wāhine in this day and age and still fighting to be treated as equal in all facets of the sport. And this is not isolated to Poiuka. It runs quite wide across the board. And as part of our masters, we had to do a creative component. So I love to make tukutuku panels. And you can see in the images, the ones on the left are actually the shape of a softball diamond, but the face of a wāhine Māori with their moko kauai and her pū muta muta. And the reason I did the ones on the right, the potama, it shows the 8 levels that we have to go through to be an international umpire. Yep. Nearly there. Yep. And where to next? In closing, it seems strange that this journey for He Waka Herenga is coming to an end, but I don't think it has. It's just enhanced my hunger to do more. But if you'd asked me at the start of this if I was an academic writer, my answer would be absolutely not. Yeah. But a key learning for myself that stood out throughout the past 2 years, and Tina would attest to this, was putting time aside for myself. For those of you who know me, I give all my time to our tauira and supporting them and our kaimahi. So but ultimately it's taught me to stand strong to my principles and my hiha, and to be tau within myself and take a moment to acknowledge the enormity of this journey and what is yet to come. I'd like to acknowledge both Tanya, who was my tuakana, and Whaiatina, who was my kaiako for the past 2 years, and acknowledge Te Mana Wāhine for allowing me this opportunity to present to you. I asked them to cut the room in half and take half the chairs out, but hey. And I also have my IMP, which is an Indigenous Māori practitioner, which was Hazel Grace, and she's a kaiako whārāranga based up in Tāmaki. So I'll finish where I started. I stand before you as a daughter, a sister, an auntie, a confident wāhine Māori, but most importantly as an Indigenous Māori sports practitioner. Kia ora. Kia ora. Yep. So I currently found out from Softball New Zealand I wanted to do my next grading this year. Because it's at a men's tournament, they said no woman could grade this year. I contested that and they stuck with their original call. So basically they've answered my 2-year journey in one email. And that just shows what we have to contend with. Ka pai. He pātai anō?
Lucy, as you know, my family has a long-standing history in softball, and so understanding your kōrero to a deeper level being within the organisation. I'm curious to know, for you, as a Mana Wāhine in our sport, what would success look like to you?
For me, success, it's not about our generation, it's about the younger wāhine. When they sign up, we have an orange shirt program, which is an entry-level program, which both me and one of my friends went through, and that gets you into umpiring. And seeing them sign up and putting that orange shirt on, you know, the little 8, 9-year-olds, that's all I need to know that success is right there. Kia ora. Kia ora.
So we welcome Tanya Rose to come and take over the next part of the session. So I made a commitment to my speakers that they'd get full 15 minutes to talk, so we're going to leave the rest of the questions, if there's time, to the end, so they all get their full time. Thank you.
Kia ora koutou. I'll start while he's doing his thing. Kia ora Lucy, it's nice to get to know you a little bit better. Thank you for sharing your kōrero. Okay. Ka noho au I te roro o tōku whare o Hangarau. Matarangi atu ki runga o te awanui ārangi ki Rangiwaia. Ko te haka a te tūpere ko te whānau a tauwhao. Ka eke ki runga o maunga nui I mau I te awatea. Kia ki ake au taku moana he kokonga tuangi, he pāpaku tauranga moana, tauranga waka, tauranga tangata. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Dr. Norma Rosales Anderson, ko Los Angeles te maunga, ko Rio de la Plata te awa, ko Oceano Atlantico te moana, ko Argentina te iwi. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Te kākano. In 2015, Norma completed her PhD studies for her dissertation entitled The Space Beyond, Academic Quality Renaissance, Case Studies within Māori, Mapuche and Mokovi Tertiary Education Organisations. She did this in collaboration with Universidad de la Frontera de Muco in South Chile. Here she was overseen by Professor Williamson, Director of the Faculty of Education, Social Sciences and Humanities. Dr. Williamson works closely and has for most of his life, although he is not Indigenous, with the Mapuche students and communities of Central Valley, south of the Biobío River in Chile. Since 2015, the Department of Education, through the Kilo One Intercultural Education Line, has carried out 4 internships of Māori and intercultural delegations of Te Wānanga o Aotearoa and other Māori study centres or organisations in New Zealand, as well as other joint academic activities. Aroha mai, there's a lot of reading here, so I'm trying to incorporate Norma's kōrero. Since that time, Norma has invited people to walk with her on this journey, and I took up the invitation in 2019, and this Thursday we fly out to Chile. This will be my 4th visit. So I'm not new to it, and it's been a real honour. Okay. And these are the things that we've done since 2015. As a consequence, since that, aroha mai. I want to mention that as a consequence of these visits and the visitors we have hosted over the years, in 2023 last year, a collaboration between the Wānanga, Victoria University alongside CAPE. CAPE is the Centre of Asian Pacific Excellence here in Wellington, resulted in securing the Prime Minister's scholarship, where 12 students spent 1 month in Chile engaging with communities, education and sightseeing. And I'm just going to read this bit from Dr. Williamson as to how he understands what's happening here. The main background of this internship is to provoke an experience of spiritual and academic unity of 4 peoples on 2 edges of the Pacific Sea, Māori, Mapuche, Chileans, New Zealanders, summoned by the social, cultural, linguistic, spiritual struggles of the ancestral peoples of Chile and New Zealand, to build a society of intercultural coexistence that ensures the rights of the Māori and Mapuche peoples as their contribution to the culture and spirituality of national collective societies in their maritime, earthly, spiritual and cultural continental territories. Whew. Man, that was a mouthful. But, you know, that's what I'm learning for myself about academic speak. So we fly into Santiago and we travel 10 hours by bus to Temuka. It's a long day. In 2020 census, 609,000 people identified themselves as Mapuche, and there's a whole story behind that, by far the country's largest Indigenous group. Then at 2013, 1,322,000, and it would have grown by then. There's this thing in Chile, because of this discrimination and racism, that they hide. And they call themselves Chileans, they don't call themselves Mapuche. Because they won't get a job. You know, just those basic things, eh? I found this in a magazine. It's me. I didn't even know it had happened. But the man that I'm having the hongi with, his name is Diego, is an activist, but also a politician. There are good things about him, not good things about him, according to media and all the rest of it at the moment. He came to visit in 2023. When he flew back, he was imprisoned, and he is now a political prisoner. And in Chile, you're guilty till you're proven not guilty, innocent. As you can see, Mapu means land, Che means people, okay, Mapuche. So the Mapuche peoples, just so a little bit of info, the Mapuche are the largest indigenous group in South America, and they primarily reside in the south of Chile. They have a distinct culture, like us, with their own language, Mapudongu, and traditional practices of textiles and silverware. Their social structures are very similar to ours, hapu-based, led by a longkon, who is the chief. Traditionally, the Mapuche economy was based on agriculture, including cultivation of crops, and they also engage in the fishing because Chile is on the Pacific Ocean, hunting and raising livestock. As you can see, they went through colonization, 1936, went through a period of independence, and then a dictator came in. Augusto Pinochet came in and did the damage. Okay? And I think you can all, connect to the atrocities that happened for them. Land privatization. They implemented a law of community division, which aimed to break up communal Mapuche lands into individual holdings. Hey, we know that one. The policy led to privatisation and sale of much of their lands, okay, from 400,000 acres, from 10 million acres to 400,000 acres. And so much of the land was sold to corporations, particularly forestry and timber companies, and mining. Many Mapuche were forced into urban areas, the urban drift, where they faced discrimination and struggled to find employment. Hence, they hide and call themselves Chileans. Cultural suppression. The dictator attempted to erase Mapuche culture by declaring there are no indigenous peoples, only Chileans. Is that one people's kōrero? This led to a decline in the use of the language and other cultural practices as Mapuche people were pressured to assimilate into mainstream Chilean society. Human rights abuses. Many Mapuche activists were subject to torture, imprisonment and forced exile. Oh, I think our tūpuna were too. We were sitting in a hui in what they call the roka. A roka is just like a wharenui. And you walk in and it's dirt floor and there's an open fire and there's a hole in the roof and it's all thatched. And we were sitting there with the long con having kōrero. And this young girl that was sitting beside me talked to me about her neighbours, two young men, and they found one of them hanging. You know, I'm not talking 100 years ago. We're talking probably 5, 6 years ago. One of them was hanging. They found him hanging in the tree. What had happened prior to that is these two young boys were protesting. And so for them, they were targeted and they were killed. They found, there was one big protest and they found one of the women in the dam, just floating in the dam. And so those are some of the things that they have to still deal with. So human rights, yeah, exiled, tortured. The anti-terrorism law enacted by the dictator was often used to target and criminalise Mapuche residents, resistance and activism. Okay. So we know that these actions have long-lasting effects. You know. But what I feel is that when I listen to this kōrero over there, they're way behind where we are at, and hence why they look at Māori as a beacon, as a light that they can gravitate to find answers for, or to find support with, or ways of dealing with the racism that goes on there. During the dictatorship, significant changes were made to the Chilean waterways. Now, you know, water is our sustenance. So what happened was that the dictator privatised the waterways, and he sold them to industrial companies, agriculture, a lot to the mining companies. And what that's done is it's polluted the waterways. The privatisation and deregulation of water resources resulted in over-extraction and pollution of rivers and lakes. So we were at one lake, and apparently 80% of it had been sold to the mining company. Since that time, the level has dropped. The mining company still expects their 80% at the time that they signed. So the people around that lake can't use the water, because it belongs to somebody. The loss of water rights and environmental degradation further marginalised these communities. And I remember we went to visit a winery, and that was their concern, is how were they going to water their plants that summer, their vines. Okay, so that's a little bit about what they're having to put up with. What challenges are Mapuche, how are Mapuche addressing the challenges that they face. I'm just going to, sorry, my kids did this. They're clever, eh? I'm just going to show you these because I think I've got thousands of photos of some of the things that we've done along the way. This group, and I think there's another one coming up. We've gone to ceremonies where we've planted trees, not realising that the trees were in honour of us being there. We were sort of told that afterwards. Long con. These are long con. They are very proud of their wear. And Mihaere and I presented to them about, it was called Waiters, right? These are our students. These are our students, 6 from Wānanga and 6 from Victoria. And that's in a modern day ruka. Okay, so just some photos. So I just want you to go like this. Mari mari, mari mari, mari mari, kia ora. So that's the equivalent to our kia ora, kei te pēhea koe. Okay? So we've been into Indigenous schools and something's happened and all the kids, mari mari! And it's really uplifting. It's really uplifting. I've only got 1 minute left. So relationships, whanaungatanga, international, inter-university, intercultural, Indigenous cooperation. Who benefits? The University de la Frontera. This is the nutty professor. He knows I call him the nutty professor. Every time I go on his car, I close my eyes because I think we're going to crash. But he's the guy that looks after us. Mapuche communities, Te Wānanga o Aotearoa. And I just want to finish in terms of, why do I go to Chile? I get asked that all the time, and, I really had to think about it this time. Why am I going to Chile? Because how does the Wānanga benefit from my research or my engagement with Mapuche? And I've come to think that the Wānanga benefits through what I learn, how I grow, and I bring that into the classroom. Okay? So, cultural exchange, to immerse myself in the rich culture and traditions, professional development, to gain new perspectives and skills that enhance my work. I'm becoming more politically astute. Politics was never my thing. And then we have the march, and it's like the film Matrix. I've taken the red pill, and now I look past the rhetoric. I have a voice. We all have a voice. The saying is, you drop a pebble into the water and you don't know how far the vibration goes. And I said to Norma, why are we going back? Because we get invited back. So I'm thinking, well, we must be contributing something. For me, even if it's one thing that somebody takes and does something with, I've done something. Paulo Freire, the guru whose thinking underpins our degree of Ngā Pautoko Whakarara Oranga. I've been to the school of Freire, fabulous. I've met and spoken with 2 of his disciples, both in their 80s. We had an afternoon with them. I now get the deeper meaning of his kōrero and why Taina Pōhatu synergizes with his work. And it's okay to wail at a seminar on climate change. I feel the pain of our Indigenous brothers and sisters across the world. It's the same pain we carry. I want to leave you with the profound words of Paulo Freire. Education does not change the world. Education changes people. People change the world. And like Taina always says, how will it be in your time, e moko? We are responsible for that. And so, you know, we just keep fighting to make our world a better place. So kia ora koutou.